It's time for GarageBand Weekly here on Studio Live. Today on this week's episode, it's all about the bass, no treble, and we'll also be looking at BandLab. We'll be looking at a new plugin, a tuner from Nembrini that is free and awesome. All that and a bucket of fish here on GarageBand Weekly. Let's do it.
GarageBand Weekly, GarageBand Weekly, GarageBand Weekly.
Whoa, indeed. It is GarageBand Weekly here on Studio Live today. We're the zoomed out view here today because we will be playing a little bit of bass a little bit later on in the show, but we're going to jump into the news and notes to get things started here as we do every week. So the big news out of the world of GarageBand, not surprisingly, is that we've got a brand new pack for those here in iOS. If you're a GarageBand iOS user, we got ourselves a free pack. It is the synth drum pack. There is a link down below if you'd like to check that one out. This is my video all about it. So in 5 minutes, I show you everything there is to know. Yes, you know what this means. We've got a brand new about this new synth pack. So it's the modular drum synth drum pack. I wasn't super impressed by it to start with, to be super honest, but the more I play with it, the more I think it's actually kind of cool. It's better for more of those sound design type things. So you're probably not going to use this in a rock track or a punk track or a metal track. But if you're doing some kind of like Trent Reznor style, like brooding kind of synthy stuff, it could be kind of cool. There's a lot of cool sort of low down, grimy drum sounds in there. And it is mostly drums. No alchemy patches, no new instruments in there. It is just kind of loops and some kits and beat sequences. In fact, we have the ability, this is GarageBand Weekly, so we have the ability to actually jump in and show you it. So let's have a really quick squizzle at this one, shall we? So if you want to download this pack, you go to the sound library here on your iPad or your iPhone. It'll be this nice yellow one here in the top left corner. You tap on that sucker, you hit the get button, and you get some cool sounds that sound a little bit something like this. Right? So they're actually pretty darn cool. And then when you want to go to use them, you can jump into your drum kits here. You can jump into this one here. And jump into the beat sequence. So that's probably the easiest place to play with these. And just load them up here. In the bottom left, you tap on there, go to your recently downloaded, find this new pack, which is called Modular Rhythms. And just tap on one. I like, where's the popping one? The plonky modular. Yeah, yeah. All right, okay, I'll never do that again. Okay, I apologize. So you got those ones there, and then there's a bunch of loops as well. So if you want to add your drum loops, you can go here to the audio recorder. You can jump on in here to your track view by tapping on that one. You can hit your loops there, go into your Apple loops, and here's the cool thing. You can actually filter this by the pack. So hit filter by sound pack, and then scroll on down and find, what is it called? I can never remember the name of these things when I'm going to look for the modular rhythms. And then go back to your filter by your Apple loops, and then there you go. You can add all these in, and you can throw your caterpillar crawler in there and get some. So kind of cool, kind of industrial, kind of nice sounds in there. So that is your brand new pack that we have here in GarageBand iOS. I think it's pretty darn cool, and it's definitely worth checking out. You know why? Because free. Because why? How can you argue when something is free? We've got some more news and notes to talk about in just a moment, but before we do that, why don't we say g'day to the folks who are here in the chat. We've got a bunch of folks who have joined us, as we do every week. Trevor Bear, hello to you. Hello to Mark Bro. Hello, Beats Music. G'day to Thomas Christ, our wonderful moderator. Hello to Jade Star. Hope you're feeling better. On the treadmill, Timothy. Can't chat, but hello. There you go. Yeah, be careful. If you're driving or if you're on a treadmill, definitely be careful. G'day, Patrick Chandler. Hello to you as well. King of New Austin, Knight of New Austin even. I can read well. I'm doing good. Who else have we got here? I'll just scroll on down. If anyone else is here, and there's Omni Collective Creativity. P-Bass and Pecked are the best bass keyboard sounds on GarageBand. Yeah, we'll be having a look. We'll be taking a look at the bass sounds here in GarageBand in just a little while, because that is our topic of the week, our feature topic. There you go, the modular Omni Collective Creativity, who did some cool videos, by the way. I still haven't caught up on all of them, but Omni Collective Creativity, who is vision impaired and uses GarageBand to create music, and has some videos on his channel showing how he actually creates music using voiceover on iOS, which is like next level cool because it's hard enough to create cool music when you can actually use the screen and you can see what you're doing. G'day Keith Deboudois, whose name I pronounce incorrectly every time, I reckon. I hope you're doing well. Let's jump into the rest of the news and notes of the week, shall we? I'll go back to my notes here. Hello, Peter, who's here. There you go. Nembrini are 50% off. Is that the case? There you go. Well, there's news and notes. There's extra news and notes from Timothy. Nembrini 50% off. And I got it right. And we've got a Nembrini app as our app of the week, a free one that we'll be trying out. And here's a little hint. I'm trying it out for the first time, actually. I've not tried it before. So Nembrini 50% off. Well, let's do that. Let's have a look here. If we go App Store Nembrini, we'll jump over to Nembrini apps on the App Store and take a look at this because I like it when we get some insider tips that we got some cheap stuff going on here. So what's one that I know actually costs? So something like the where are we? We'll see all of them here. What's something that I know costs? So the black distortion's free. They're all free. Where are the Soundmaster custom tube? This one's usually $20. So look, there you go, $10. $10 to buy the Soundmaster custom tube amp. So there you go, sale 50% off until April 24th. So you got yourself nearly 2 more weeks. And if you don't know about Nembrini, they make a whole bunch of cool plugins. They've got their analog rack effects. They've got the 8180 is a great amp. The Soundmaster I've used is a great amp. They've got a heap of cool plugins here, and there's even a bunch of free stuff here. So a lot of these analog rack gear is actually free. Some of these, for instance, so the crunk is free, the noise gate's free. I think the delay and the chorus are free, and then you've got phasers and screamers and tremolos and cool things. And they're actually really cheap. Let's see what the tremolo is going to cost you. Yeah, so they're normally $4, $2 for an analog rack tremolo. And you can basically build yourself a pedal board gear and a whole rack of amps just using that. So very, very cool stuff. Thank you, Timothy. Appreciate the heads up on there. Got a free Rat. Yes, the Rat plugin. We looked at that as the plugin of the week a few weeks ago. So that is, where is that one? I'm going to find it now. There's so many Nembrini stuff here. It is one of them. I reckon if we search for Nembrini Rat, we'd be able to find it. I can't find it. You'll be able to find it. Someone will be around. Is it? No, it's not the black distortion, is it? But yes, there is a Rat pedal that is free, that is cool. But we'll be looking at more Nembrini stuff a little bit later in the show. Excuse me. So what we're talking about? BandLab. That is the other thing that we were talking about. And Omni Collective Creativity says, I want to know if BandLab works with voiceover. If not, I'm sticking to GarageBand. I'm not paying money for music creation apps. Yeah, and look, BandLab is free. So no harm, no foul if you give it a try. But I would be intrigued to find out because I'm about to dive in to trying out BandLab on iOS, because it's very different. It's the same sort of process, but it's obviously there's some differences between the desktop and the iOS app. But if you're not familiar with what we're talking about when we talk BandLab, this is BandLab. This is my video about BandLab. You can search it. You can find it down in the description. There's a link down to this one. So I've released the first of what are going to be 4 videos all about BandLab in the month of April. So this is the first one, my beginner's guide. It's a 20-minute video, 25 minutes in fact. It goes through all the different things, how you get started, how you apply for an account, which is free, by the way. So you create a free account, you come in here, and you can use this in the browser. So you can use it on your Mac, your PC, your Google Chromebook, anything that can run a browser can run In fact, I wonder if you could run BandLab in the browser in iOS. You don't really have to because there is an app, which we are going to check out today, in fact. So we've got that to look forward to. I'm going to attempt for the first time to send something from GarageBand to BandLab. So we're going to experiment here. You know, sometimes it's fun to know what you're doing, and sometimes it's fun to just go with it and to just do things on the fly. Yeah. Hello, John W. Adams, who was talking about the Rat. Hello, Clayton Von Kluge, who is here. Band to the lab. Exactly. All right. Let's go. So the only other thing, we don't have a whole lot of news here this week, apart from the fact that we got, a brand new pack. But I wanted to draw your attention to this little bit of news, which is that Rockin' Ronnie Ward is going to be my special guest on Creator Town Hall this week, and we'll be talking about exactly what I'm doing right now. Here, I'm going to copy this. I'll throw this in the chat for anyone that's here live. We're going to be talking about doing live streams on YouTube, in particular playing other people's music, because Rock and Ronnie Ward now has, I think, 17 shows per week where he plays other people's music online. Not quite, but he does have a lot of shows. And you would have noticed that there's been kind of a very cool explosion in the amount of shows. So I've been doing Your Music Live. We're up to nearly episode 100, so I've been doing it nearly 2 years. Metalhead Hippie's been doing his show for even longer than that. Thomas Christ, Ron Ward. We got a whole bunch of cool folks that are playing other people's music. And there's a lot of good things about it. There's some challenges, there's some pitfalls, there's some things to think about. So we thought it would be cool to just sit down and have a chat and share our experiences, our collective experience about how that has all been going. And that will be happening on Thursday night, Australian time, very early Thursday morning if you're in other places. So get up early, set your alarm, get up early, catch Rockin' Ronnie Ward and myself chatting about all things streaming and live streaming. Hello to Brad Example. G'day to you. Hope you are doing well, my friend. And anyone else who has dropped on in here. Gregory O'Sullivan as well. Don't think I said g'day to you as well. All right. So that's our news and notes for the week. Now, if you're just joining us, you might be thinking, why is Pete so zoomed out? I never see this much of his bedroom studio. What's going on here? Well, that's because our feature topic today is going to be all about the bass. So we're going to dive in. We're going to dive headfirst into bass, and I'm going to show you all the ways that you can create bass sounds in GarageBand. So let's jump on in, shall we, and get started. So we'll make sure that we'll do a quick sound check, make sure that our sound is working. Benny, are you ready, mate? Look at that. Drummers are always ready. They're always just sitting there behind the skins, ready to go. So we're going to dive into this. And as usual, if you haven't seen these sort of shows before, I will normally, the way I work these is that I start creating and I turn these into a shortened version of the video so that those that are not here live, we'll actually be able to catch just the part that they want to see. So this will be about a 15-minute segment, and then it'll be sort of cut and chopped for a future standalone video. So if you think it's a bit weird that I'm introducing things and then you're like, Pete, we're already here, it's all good, then that's what we're going to be getting to in this one. So make sure bass guitar is good. Yep, that's plugged in. Hopefully everything will work. Sometimes it doesn't. That's the way we roll. That's what we do here. So GarageBand has a heap of very cool ways to add bass, and what we're going to show here today is all the different ways we can add bass sounds in GarageBand. The first and most simple way that we can add some bass is to use a bass loop. So if we have a track here, so I've just lined up Benny, our drummer, and Benny's on the skins. He's going to play this. So we've just got a bit of a funky groove here. We've got ourselves set here at 110. We're in C major. Everything's ready to rock and roll. What we can do is we can add some bass loops. Now, if you're using loops, I recommend using loops to start with and then building around those loops. If you play your other instruments in and then you go to loops, sometimes it's hard to match them up to the beat and the rhythm and the time signature and the key signature, all that jazz. So what we're going to do is we're going to click in the top right here. We're going to go to Apple Loops, and we need ourselves some bass. So we're going to go to the filter by here. We want all of our sound packs. So we'll click there. We'll go all sound packs. And if we just type in here, bass, B-A-S-S, and hit the enter key there, we've got a whole bunch of different bass sounds that we can go with here. And there's a whole bunch of packs, there's a whole bunch of sound library packs, plenty of stuff here that you can check out. Now, one that I really like is from the Oak Felder pack, one of our producer packs here in GarageBand, and it's called this, the Bowtie Bass. And I reckon it's going to go nicely with Benny here. So let's preview it first by just tapping on it. Yeah. All right, and then we just tap and hold and drag and drop it into a fresh track. And now Benny's got some company, Oak Felder on the bass. Very cool. Now, you might have noticed here, I've given myself 1 bar lead in here. That's just sort of good habit that I get into to make sure that when I'm recording my bass, I can actually jump on this one. So all we need to do here is reduce the end of this one and then bring it out here so it's actually starting on that second bar, so that we've got 8 bars of Benny and Oak, and then this is what our intro is going to sound like. There you go. There's a groove out of the box. You could literally start with that and then just start playing and building your track around it. But I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways that we can create bass here in GarageBand. The second way is to use our virtual bass. So we've also got the ability to add in a virtual bass here in GarageBand. So let's hit the plus button. Let's go to our bass. Now, the easiest way to do this is to hit the more sounds button here in the bottom right. So we're going to tap on that one. And here's all of our different bass sounds. You got your Liverpool, your muted, your P bass, your picked. And if you scroll across, yes, we've even got an upright. Yeah, very cool. We'll show all of these in just a moment. But for this one, let's go the P bass. I think we want a little bit of a P bass kind of sound here. And we're going to have... Yeah, very cool sound. It's actually a very well sampled P bass sound. Now here in your virtual bass, you've got a couple of ways to do it. You can use your notes. So here, if you know where your C is, you could actually tap there. So we could play in a riff like that. You can also use chords. So if you don't know, you could just use, you know that you're going to be in the C chord, because we know that we're in the key of C at the moment with our loop. You've also got your autoplay, so you can turn the autoplay up here, and then your bass is going to play along there, and you've got more complicated autoplays as you go through. I reckon that one might be cool to just sort of try out here. So let's hit the record. And this way, even if you don't know where your C's from your G's, you'll be able to use this same method. So let's hit the record button and whack on this C and see what it sounds like. So, yeah, it doesn't really go in with our oak Felder sound, does it? But again, we started it on bar 1 there. We need to just drag it across to bar 2 to make sure it's in the right zone here. So if we play this and say we mute out oak from our original loop, not bad. And of course we can change the sound. So if we didn't like that P bass sound, and if we instead wanted, say, the Liverpool bass, we can come here, tap on this one, and change it up to a bit of a Liverpudlian bass, and we'll get this sort of sound. Yeah, a little bit less in the way of the fuzz that you get in that bass. So that's a pretty good and pretty easy way to add that. Because I don't really like that autoplay sound, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play in a bit of a bass sound. So I'm just going to delete this. So I'm going to play something that's going to work with this oak Felder bass. So if we tap again here on our instrument, I'm going to have to lean in here, go back into notes mode, and I just want to play. I'm just going to play a very basic bass loop here. So if we hit record on this bar 2, and I'm going to use my thumbs, because bass players always use their thumbs. All right, there we go. We'll hit the pause button. So we've just put in a very basic sort of bass sound here. So there's our Liverpool bass. If we solo it, it's this. Just a nice sort of bass sound. And this one's actually going to play a little bit nicer with our original bass here. We can start layering up a bass sound. Now, because we've only done that for 4 bars, we can just tap on this and hit the loop button, and like magic, we've got our 8-bar bass loop here. So there's 2 ways to go. You've got your loops here at Apple Loops in GarageBand. You've got your virtual bass. Let's move on to our next option, which Pete has to check the notes to find out what they are. You get to see the behind the scenes, the bits that get edited out in the mix. All right. Number 3 is to use some imported sounds. So you can actually import any WAV file, MP3 file, AIF file into GarageBand and use that as your bass sound. So the site that I recommend for this is called freesound.org. So if we actually jump over to Safari, we'll go to our web browser here, and we won't go into StreamYard, but here I am. Here's one I prepared earlier. I've got it here to freesound.org, and what you can do is you can sign up for a free account at freesound.org, and if you search sounds, so in this case, I just know that I'm in 110 BPM. So I've searched bass, and I've searched 110 BPM. and I hit enter on that one, and it's going to jump in and start searching for some sounds. And I can grab any of these that I like. So here's this bassline synth 110 BPM. If we tap on this one, let's preview this sound and see what it's going to sound like. So if we hit the play button here, that's a different kind of sound. So maybe we wouldn't go with something like that. Let's just go back, because I think I saw this one. Yeah, what about this electric bass guitar loop? Let's tap on this one, and if we hit play on this, this one could work a little better, right? So if we want to use this in our GarageBand project, it's as simple as hitting the download button here in Safari. Now, you do have to be in Safari. It has the best download manager in iOS. So we're going to hit download, and it is going to download. You can see in the top right here, it started downloading. Definitely haven't tried this before in testing. There it is. It's downloaded. It's in our downloads folder. So we're ready to import this into GarageBand. So if we swap back over to our GarageBand project, we can go to our loops icon here. This time, instead of Apple Loops, we're going to go to Files, and we're going to browse items from our Files app to jump in and try and find this one. Now, for whatever reason, there's something in Apple, in iOS at the moment, that it doesn't download to the downloads folder. It downloads here into your default files directory here in iCloud Drive, which is a bit weird, but we'll go with it for now. So we just need to tap on this one to import it. It's going to bring that loop that we downloaded into GarageBand. There it is. And now all we need to do is to preview it. We tap it. Tap again to go off, and let's just drag this in to a blank track right here on number 2. And because we know this is a 110 BPM, check it out. It's going to line right up there, and then all we need to do is tap again and loop it, and there you go. We've got a bass loop. So let's mute out our first 2 bass lines and see if we were going to be using this imported bass. We've now just added a brand new, fresh, completely different sound. And it sits nicely in there with Benny. Like, that's a nice groove that we have with there. Will it work with our other bass sounds? Let's try it. Absolutely not. Why? Because it's in a different key signature. So that's the sort of thing that you do have to think about with this. And that's why I say, if you're using loops, bring in the loops first and then build the rest of your sound around that loop. So we're not going to use that one in our end product here because it's not going to work. But it's a cool option that you have there if you wanted to try that one out. Where's me next one? All right, we're going to have to actually, all right, we've done loops and virtually imported. We're going to plug in a real bass. So let's do that one now. Hello to Bubba, by the way, who's just dropped on by. Yeah, sounded like Primus, didn't it, Thomas? Totally like Primus. All right, let's get the bass guitar and make sure I've got my cable ready to plug in. Okay. Oh. All right, we've got the bass. It's all about the bass. Okay. Oh, hang on, got the wrong plug. The bass is plugged in. Let's just do a quick sound check here on the bass to make sure that it's working, so that I don't look like a fool. See, now you're seeing behind the scenes. You're seeing that I don't really know what I'm doing. It's just all trial and error when I'm doing this stuff. Input 2, make sure, yep, it's coming through there. Put the monitor on. We're good. We can slap it a bass. All right, so we'll delete that out. And then we'll come back on in and get this next one done. All right. Next up is using a real bass guitar. So if you have an audio interface, some way to plug your guitar in to your iPhone or iPad, and there's heaps of information here on the channel, as well as at my gear guide at studiolivetoday.com/gear. So I'm using the Steinberg UR22C, and I've got my bass plugged in to the second input here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the plus button here, and this time, instead of going to the bass sound over here, I'm going to go to the bass amp simulator here. So what I'd suggest again is hit on the more sounds in the bottom right, go back to your main categories at the top, and here you see we've got a heap of bass sounds. You've got clean bass, you've got distorted bass, you've got processed bass, and we've even got this bass amp boutique pack. So there's a heap of extra settings here. If you don't have all these, go to your sound library, download the bass amp boutique. So what do we want for this one? I think we want something clean for this one, but we want something that's going to be a little bit interesting to go with this. Why don't we go with the slippery lows or the sound check? Let's try the slippery lows. Now, to get this set up, we need to make sure that we have this set to the right input. input. So to do that, we tap or click on the little jack here. We're going to make sure that this is input 2 because I'm in the second input, the instrument jack on my audio interface, and then tap it again and hit the monitor button. And if all has lined up, if the universe is with me, it works. It's not working. So we have to go back and work out why that is not working. There you go. It is coming through there. You can see we've actually got that there, but we're not getting any sound through, and we need to just work out why that is. The best laid plans. Don't you love it when it works in the preview? So it's definitely coming through. So it's just my audio output that's not working. So we just need to unplug. Bear with me for a moment, because sometimes we just need to unplug and replug the audio interface. There you go. You get the test pattern. That looks cool, doesn't it? So unplug and replug, and we should get the little thing popping up that's going to say monitoring. Turn on monitoring. There you go. I deliberately did that so that you'd be able to see how it can sometimes not work. So if your audio interface is ever doing that, you can't hear the output, turn it off and on. Just unplug it, replug it. You'll be good to go. So we've now got the modern stack here. Let's go with maybe a process sound, something a bit funky here. What about filter funk? This could be fun. Yeah, I reckon this could be some fun. Let's have some fun with this funky bass. Now, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to mute out the other basses just so I'm not distracted by them. Turn this up on the output gain so I can hear myself a little bit better. Hit the record button and let's play us some bass. Yeah, a little bit of bass there on our, not quite slap bass. I can't slap it a bass, but there you go. There is our bass line ready to rock and roll. So now if we play this one back, there you go. We've got some real bass sound here in our GarageBand project. Pretty darn funky. Now, the cool thing is here, of course, because we've recorded this in, we can change this bass sound to anything we like. So we can tap on the bass there, and instead of this filter funk, what if we did want to go back to a clean sound and just wanted this sort of barely phased sound, something a little bit more subtle? Let's take a listen to this one. Let's change it up. What if we wanted something really different? We definitely don't want that dispelling delays. That was a bad one. What about 80s Dreams? This one could be cool. I'm thinking we've got some delay and some chorus in this one. Not bad. So yeah, there's plenty of options that you have in there. Now, the other thing that you can do is use not only just the built-in bass amp sounds, but you can add your own bass plugins. So there's a heap of cool bass plugins that you can use. The one that I recommend is the Mammoth bass, and I won't show it in this one, but there's a video that I'll link down below where you can check that one out. So if there aren't enough cool bass sounds in here and you want even more bass sounds, there's other cool bass amp sims that you can try here in GarageBand. All right, we'll put the bass to the side. Ugh. I like playing bass. I'm not good at it, but I like doing it. It's good fun. All right, where's my next one? So, plug it, yeah. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 ways, isn't it? 4 ways to put bass into sound. Yeah, that's cool. That's what we wanted to show this. There you go, bass in honor of Gary Harps. And yeah, the Mammoth is a killer. And the Rhino. Yeah, the Rhino is the guitar version. The Mammoth is the bass version. They're both very nice plugins. All right, where is it? Last thing I wanted to show you. Yeah, cool. One last thing, let's try that again. One final bonus tip here when it comes to bass here in GarageBand is that we can actually use our bass amps with our regular virtual bass. So if you don't want to use loops, if you don't have your own bass and you're a bit sick of the old Liverpool sound, so this is the one we did before. What if we want this sound, but we want it to go through this amp? Well, there's a cool little workaround that we can do with that. So what we need to do is actually tap on this Liverpool bass, and we're going to hit the merge button here. So we'll hit that merge button, and that's going to bring this menu up. We just want that one. You can merge multiple tracks, but we just want this Liverpool bass. We're going to hit the merge button, and what this is going to do is it's going to turn that Liverpool bass into an audio track. So we'll turn it down a bit because it does normalize the volume up to the loudest it can be, and now... But here's the cool thing. If we just grab this bass and we duplicate that out, we've now got a blank bass track here. We can just move this audio file onto that bass amp. And now, if we use this one instead, take a listen to this. We've now got that virtual bass sound, but going through an amp. And now you can come in here and change this to your heart's content. So if you want this on one of these cool process, you want this on the filter funk, you can actually use the filter funk with your virtual bass. So there you go. Even if you don't have your own bass, you can't plug in, you can't play a lick to save yourself, you can use your virtual bass, turn it into a bass amp sound, and you'll be good to go with your bass sounds here in GarageBand. Because you know it's all about the bass, no treble. All right, that is bass. Thank you for bearing with me. Thanks for being here live. Round of applause to the live audience here. What I've realized is that in recent times, what I would do, I'd prepare for these live shows, I'd do a whole live show, and then afterwards, I'd then have to sit back down and re-record the whole section again. So I do thank you for being here and seeing it firsthand and being part of the action, because it just saves me time and effort when it comes to doing these tutorials, because there's a lot. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I overdo things. Sometimes I bite off more than I can chew. And sometimes I forget to say no to things. And in fact, that's a good segue, because the rant of the week this week is about saying no. Now, this sounds like it's going to be a negative thing, but trust me, it's 100% a positive thing. I've been guilty of biting off more than I can chew on more than one occasion. In fact, I pretty regularly over the last sort of 5 to 7 years that I've been seriously doing this music caper, I've got myself into some positions where I'm doing a lot more than I should. And it has a few repercussions. Number one, it has repercussions on my own physical and mental health. That's never good. It has repercussions on my ability to be a good, father, husband, friend, son, all those sort of things, because I'm like always feeling like I've overdone things. So there's sort of two things. And number three, it's not fair on the people that I'm saying yes to. And I read a book, and I can't remember the book. I won't be able to cite the source, but I read a book, and it basically said, if you say yes with no ability to complete what you've said within the time frame required, you might as well say no, because an unfulfilled yes is worse than an upfront no. And what I've realized over time is that is so true. That is so wise and sage. And I didn't come up with it. I just follow it now. And that is that it's not about not taking opportunities. It's not about not accepting and helping people when you can. But when there are 10 different things that you can do, if you accept all 10 things, what you're going to do is either do them all half-assed, you're going to miss deadlines and let people down on the majority of those, and you're going to be frazzled because you're not going to be able to do everything to the level that you want to do it. So reducing that down and finding the two things that are going to be most fulfilling for you, that are going to be most helpful for other people, they're the things that you need to focus in on, in my opinion. That's what I've found anyway, in my opinion, in my experience. So what I've done lately is been very selective over what I've done. And when I can't do something, not saying no with no, I'm too busy, look at me, Mr. Important YouTube Man, but saying, I would love to be able to help you out, but unfortunately I don't have capacity to take on any extra work right now. Maybe hit me up in 6 months' time and see how I'm positioned then. And look, that's actually happened with a few folks. The song I'm working on with Tremor Bear, and Bear, I'm sorry, I'm going to get that video recorded of me singing the song. So the song that I recorded with Tremor Bear in GarageBand, here, there's a link back to GarageBand, that took a while to do. So I originally spoke to Bear and I said, hey, your music's cool, I'd love to sing on it. He came back to me, he's like, oh yeah, that's something that we could work on. He then sent me a bunch of songs and I'm like, yeah, look, not right now, can't do it right now, but maybe I can do it on the channel in a few weeks' time. And then eventually it all worked out because I wanted to work on some videos about recording vocals and collaborating in GarageBand. So it worked well with that. Same sort of thing with what I just did here on the channel. The fact that I now get tomorrow off because that bass video we just recorded gets chopped up, and that'll take me about an hour, and then I get to just upload it, and then I get tomorrow off, as opposed to spending all day tomorrow with doing another thing. That's the whole saying no thing. I say no to perfectionism. I say yes to let's make things better by doing multiple things at once. So all I'll say on that is have a think about what you say yes to and what you say no to. And when you say yes, knowing, and you'll know in your gut, in deep down, you'll know if you can or can't do it, or you can or can't commit to it. Sometimes a very respectful and polite no up front is a lot better in the long run than yeah, okay, when you just know that you're not going to be fulfilled. All right. I've been ignoring the poor folks in the chat here, so I'm going to scroll on back and see what folks have got to say. So Omni Collective Creativity can't use AUV3 plugins, inaccessible. Yeah, so unfortunately, yeah, as good as Apple is with accessibility and as good as VoiceOver is, things like AUV3 plugins, and the reason that they don't work with VoiceOver, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, Omni Collective Creativity, for our vision impaired friends, is that the interfaces are non-standard. So if you go into plugins and EQ and you go to edit here and we go to add, and let's just say we go to audio unit extensions and we go to something like the what's one that folks would use a lot? Where's Rough Rider? So we say we go to Rough Rider 3. We bring this up. So this is our compressor plugin. All these dials, like there's no way for VoiceOver to jump between these and to set them because they're all custom made. Now, some of your Apple AUV3s use a very basic setup, so I'm imagining that they would work better. So if you go into your, say, your Apple audio unit extensions right down the bottom here, these ones, and you went to, say, your AU delay and went in here, see how they just use these very basic sliders, and when you tap down in the bottom right here, it goes into this view. They're ones that would work a lot better with VoiceOver because it'll go dry wet mix 52, and then you'd be able to turn it up and down. But again, I don't even know how you'd say make that 64 as opposed to 44 because it's all tactile, it's all slider based. So I don't know the answer there, but yeah, that is a bit unfortunate that AUV3 plugins are not super accessible. Slap and bass and singing are two of my musical wish I coulds, right? So yeah, I got the singing, but the slap and the bass just doesn't work for me. I must learn how to slap the bass one day. Jabberwocky Bass says occasionally do some basic slap, but as I said before, the blisters, right? Yeah, the blisters, bass players and their thumbs. You see the thumbs on bass players, and it's like, wow, look at that callus. Hello, SB Music. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, Bubba. Appreciate it. I know it's a lot of stuff that if you've been around for a while, a lot of you will know that. But like I say, sometimes you'll just pick up one little thing. Maybe you didn't know the merge trick to get it over to your bass amp. Maybe you didn't know that sometimes when you plug in, GarageBand just poops its pants and you have to just unplug and replug. So occasionally there's going to be things that you'll pick up, even if you already know a lot of stuff. Hello, Jeffrey Labumbula. Thank you for being here. Desolate morning. I think I said g'day to you. Good morning, desolate morning. I hope you're well, and I hope you're not in mourning. G'day, Armoured Anvil. Smile and be happy. I'm generally happy. All right. I was just about to ask you to play my new Fire beat. Good one, Brad. I like it. You know what we didn't touch? Yeah, hashtag fire. You know what we didn't touch? We didn't touch on is the fact that there is also here in the bass. That's right. We've merged it now. But here in the actual bass, here's a bonus tip just for you folks that are here live. But here in your actual bass, you can actually go across. I did sort of touch on it. You can go across here to the upright bass, and this one's cool because someone was asking about a fretless. Well, here's your fretless. So yeah, there is that. And maybe I need to do one. Maybe I need to do a separate video just on the upright bass. That would be kind of fun, I think. Does anyone know how to make the bass louder and also less buzzy? Louder and less buzzy. So as you would have heard there in the tutorial we did, different tones will have different buzzes. So if you go the P bass, it's going to be very buzzy. If you go like the Liverpool bass, it's going to be a lot less buzz in there. But a lot of it will come down. So let's find a buzzy bass and let's see if we can unbuzz it. So if we go with this one, that's the Filter Funk. Jeepers. That doesn't sound good at all, does it? We'll go back to this one and use this as the demo, shall we? So there is a little bit of buzz in there, as you can hear. The number one thing you can do here is mess with your EQ. So if we go to the EQ, because a lot of the buzz in the bass, so the thump in the bass is in your low end and the buzz is in the high end. So you can see here we've got a little bit of a push up here in the bass that's sort of making it a little bit, because this preset has a little bit of a 2K boost. So if we actually instead reduce that 2K, so here's what it sounds like with the 2K boost. Just get to the spot. So that's that frequency if we turn it up. If instead we cut it, can you hear that? You're losing a lot of that hum and that buzz and that top end stuff, and you can go like completely, if you wanted to like really bring it down there, you're getting just the low end. So yeah, if you wanted to do that, you can, and it's the vice versa if you wanted to enhance that treble and get more of that clunky kind of picking bass sort of sound. So yeah, mess with your EQ. Your EQ is very, very similar. If you don't want to, if you want more control over your EQ, you can use something like LRC5 or LRC7, which are free EQ plugins as well. So if you come on down, where are we? LRC went straight past it, didn't I? FAC. What? Where does L come? L comes after K. So yeah, if you use, say, just LRC5, you just get like a simple 5-band EQ, and you can do the same sort of thing. You can boost, you can cut, you can play around to your heart's content. So EQ for the win. Who else is here that we haven't said g'day to? If I've missed you, say hello. I'm back to GarageBand for the moment. BandLab didn't work for me on iPad. I may have to use Cubasis if GarageBand won't do what I need. Yeah, look, Cubasis is a good step up from GarageBand. I know I shouldn't say that on a GarageBand show, but it's true. If you want more options, if you want things like sends and receives, if you want things like automation of things that aren't just your singing, your volume, then you can do that. Working smarter, 100%. 100% working smarter. In relation to the Rant, absolutely. Do things that you can do. Or Apple plugins and effects. There you go. So Omni Collective Creativity's confirmed that there you go. You know, answer for the fretless sounds of the bass. Yeah, so the fretless, you can use that one. I think there are actually also, if I'm not mistaken, I think there's some fretless bass loops. If we go to loops and we filter and we type in fretless. Yeah, look, you got two. Okay, so you don't have a whole lot, but yeah, you can search for like for upright bass. Is there some upright bass? Yeah, look, so you got some perfect fit upright bass. Yeah, a lot of that are in this Watch the Sound pack, this Mark Ronson pack, because Mark uses like a lot of horns and a lot of cool stuff like this. So see, that would actually be a cool sample to come in with this funky sound. If we just bring that in, let's just solo that sucker with Benny, our drums. This could be a cool sort of upright bass sound. No, okay, so it doesn't quite fit into our groove that we've got there. And again, that's why sometimes you need to build your drums around your groove. You'd be able to adjust this. So it's really just that we've got that little first thing. That's better. So yeah, so there you go. You've got some fretless options for you there that can definitely help out. How are we going on time? We've got about 20 minutes. That's okay. Now I know that you're not talking about that, but middle ground. The other thing is your ground loops. So someone was asking me about noisy guitars and bass sounds when they plug their stuff in. Be really careful of the other appliances that you have plugged in to your gear, because if you've got, especially computer monitors, like Wi-Fi routers, a lot of things like that will add to like the ground hum. You'll get this ground loop that's going on. So sometimes if you can plug your audio gear into a separate power point or even separate power circuit to other gear, and especially like to try to be away from your kitchen, microwaves, fridges, that sort of stuff, just mess with audio gear. Like the background interference and the radiation you get from those things is terrible. So try to do that. The other thing you can do is use a battery like a portable battery instead of plugging into AC power. So a lot of your interfaces, you can do that. You can just plug out. So the Steinberg interfaces are great for this. Instead of plugging them into AC power, plug them out to a portable battery, a 5-volt supply, any sort of power pack, and you'll be able to get around any of those ground loop hum issues that you get, which can add noise. Alrighty. Bass can add a lot to the overall dBs of the track, even if you increase it just a little. It makes exactly, yeah. And the bass is notorious for wide-ranging dynamics. You would have heard that when I was playing the bass, there was one bit there, especially on the P bass, it just plucked one note, and it can just be one note, one frequency, and your meter, you'll just suddenly clip. You'll be sitting at like minus 12 dB, and then one note will come and go. Pew. So that's why compression in bass is actually pretty important. So playing around with your compressor and trying to limit those peaks, so sort of flatten it. It's why like a lot of bass players use a compressor pedal on the way to their amp, because that will flatten the top. That'll remove the peaks from the top of your sound. And if you want to learn more about compression, there's a heap of videos here that you can dive into. That's the upright. Yeah, so that's the upright. I don't think there's any sort of fretless electric bass sounds. Again, you could probably find some loops to bring in. G'day, Chris Lane Senior. Hope you're well, my friend. Thanks for dropping on by. I'll just see if we've got any question. Please let me know. If you do have questions, all you need to do is put the word question like this in front of your comment, and we'll circle back and answer any questions you have. Exactly. If nothing else, loops are great idea starters indeed. Good question here. We'll keep answering the questions while they're coming in because, hey, we'll go over time. I usually try to keep this show to 1 hour. We may be a little over time today. Inform the affiliates, which is probably Ron Ward. I think he's usually on straight after me here again. Sorry for another dumb question. You allowed to put a loop in a song, or would it be copyrighted? Yeah. So the short answer is that you can use a loop in a song. There's a couple of things to keep in mind. So with GarageBand loops, the only rule is that you can't use just one loop. So if, for instance, I just had this one loop here and I wanted to... If I just exported that loop and tried to release that or tried to use that or sell that in a sound pack, Apple would not be happy. But as long as I'm combining it with at least one, preferably more other sounds, and I'm building a groove, then that's totally fine. And Apple actually say explicitly that you can use any of their loops, any of their sounds in all releases, including commercial releases. So you're 100% cool there. If you're using something like Freesound that we were showing before, what you'll notice is that there's this little thing down here around the licensing. So I deliberately chose a loop there that had the Creative Commons 0 license, which means you can use it without any attribution and in any commercial release. There's other ones. It's a Creative Commons attribution license, which means you can still use it, but in your metadata. So if you make a song, you always have to link and put the name of the original creator of the loop in there. And then there are licensing like commercial licenses, which if you use it, you either need to own the license, so you need to license it from the original creator, or if you use it without that license, then you're in breach of copyright and bad things can happen to you in many ways. So be very careful with your loops. But yeah, GarageBand, totally cool. And if you're downloading loops from the internet, just check the licensing. If it's Creative Commons 0, you're safe. If it's anything else, you may either need to put attribution to the original creator or not use it at all because it may be a commercially licensed loop. All right. Let's just scroll down here. Yeah, the compressor is very important for bass. Yeah, bass can be super dynamic and it can go up and down and all over the place. So if you want to level it off, use some compressor for sure. And roll off the low frequencies. So yeah, rolling off your low frequencies depends. Rolling off the low frequencies on your other tracks is a good idea. Anything below 100 hertz. And even on your bass, you really don't want that. So some people will roll off under 100 hertz on every single track. I don't tend to bother with stuff unless there's actual noise down there, or yeah, you've got vocals or something that's interfering with your other stuff. But yeah, it's worth considering. Yeah, check your grounding. Absolutely, grounding can be a pain in the butt. Question: what's the best place to find free plugins? I know Apple has packs. Is there a good place to find other good free plugins? Yes, in fact, I'm glad you asked. It's like SB Music just set me up for this. But if you go to studiolivetoday.com/freeau, FREEAU, I'll show you it here so that you can see what I'm talking about. This one here I've actually curated, and I have to update it. It was only last updated about 2 months ago, December 2021, in fact. So I need to add a few more, but I updated it when I added the new Baby Audio Chorus and Echo Reverb, which were very cool. And look, videos coming soon. I have those videos now, so I definitely have to get it and update it. But here's those Nembrini plugins I was talking about, all the free ones we have there, the Crunk V2, that Klon Minotaur free pedal that you have there, all of the different plugs there from the LRC5, LRC7, your Rough Rider, stereo lag time. So that's my personal collection of the best tape cassette 2. All the best free plugins are there. And if you have suggestions or ideas, feel free to email me, pete@studiolivetoday.com. If there's stuff in there that I've missed, I'm more than happy to add to it. And look, there's Facebook groups, there's other places where you can find more information about this stuff. So yeah, there's plenty out there, but just go and check out that page, and that'll get you started. That'll keep you busy for at least a week or two with all the cool free plugins you can download there. And they're all ones that have actually been tested by me and this community, so you know you'll be good. Yeah, you're welcome. This is a good community. When I can't answer the questions, it's probably because folks already have. So if I miss anything, then yeah, there's folks here that will answer it. I'll just see if I can catch up. G'day, Gary Hubbs. Hope you're doing well. Can I put the link in the comments to that one? I sure can, like just for you. I'm going to put the link in that one. So studiolivetoday.com/freeau, and we'll copy that link and we'll paste it right here in the chat. So you're good to go. There you go. Thomas Christ may have already done it, but there you go. I've put it there. Cool. We've caught up on the comments. Hurrah! Hurrah! So where's my next section? What are we doing next? All right. Oh, yes, plugin or app of the week. Yeah, so this is going to be fun because this is going to be Pete absolutely just trying something for the first time here live on the show. And this always goes one of two ways. It can either be a well-oiled machine or it can be a train wreck. And either way, it's probably going to be entertaining. So let's find this out. I'm going to use my bass only because I've got the bass here already, and it means I don't have to get my guitar if I've got the bass here, so it'll work the same. So let's jump in and take a look. Now, which one was so it's one of these that we'll do. So we'll just come out here and we'll make sure that we've got my bass in the right spot and it's monitoring. Yeah. Cool. All right, so we can slap at a bass or pick at a bass, as the case may be. I'm going to I'll turn the monitor off while I do my intro, so we'll talk about this. Okay. Cool. Our plugin of the week this week is the Nembrini Chromatic Tuner, the NA Tuner. It is free, and it is very, very cool. At least I think it is, because guess what? I haven't used it yet. So let's all try this together, shall we? I'm going to jump in here and hit the little button here. This is our access button, our mixer icon. We're going to go to plugins and EQ. We're going to hit the edit button here. I don't need this LRC5. We're going to instead hit the plus button, and for the very first time, I'm going to find and check out this plugin. So if we scroll on down, you can see I have a bunch of Nembrini Audio NA stuff, and this is the latest free plugin from Nembrini Audio, the NA Tuner. Now I've got my bass here, but of course you can use this with a bass or a guitar. We'll just exit out of that one, and I've seen other people use this, and it looks like it works pretty cool. So let's put it to the test, shall we? I'm going to put my monitoring back on. So we'll just, we're in full screen there. What did I tell you? Train wreck. Let's just hit done on that one. We'll turn my monitoring on so that we can actually hear the bass, and that then Nembrini can hopefully hear the bass as well. So there is our bass sound. We'll go back over to here. Plugins and EQ. It looks good, so it passes the look test, that's for sure. And let's play our low E here and see what it looks like. So we're a little bit low there. We bring it up. That's cool. I like the display. We're still a little flat, up a little more. So that's not bad. So you've got a pretty cool indicator there. If we go to our next string. What if we go too much? And what do they say? Always tune up. Tune up to the note. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Next string. Man tunes guitar. Well stops. Alright, so we're pretty cool there. I like it. Why is this convenient? Well, at this point, what I've used in the past is an app called Guitar Tuner. So if we put tuner, it's tuner like with an A. This one here. Do I not have it installed? Oh yeah, there I go. But as you can see, this is great for your iPhone, but it's a bit crappy on your iPad because look, it's made by a musician and it's got all this other stuff in here and it's like, no, I just want to tune. So the cool thing, yeah, so this is the older one. But there you can see it's not even accepting it because it doesn't know that that's what the input is that it's supposed to be. So using something instead that's directly here in GarageBand or Cubasis or whatever you're using as an AUV3 plugin. This is why Nembrini do things well, is that everything is right here where you need it. Now, do you have a tuner built into GarageBand? Sure you do, but let's do a quick comparison of the two, shall we? Here's our GarageBand tuner. It looks like this. A, it doesn't look anywhere near as cool. And B, how do I know how much I need to go? Like, it doesn't give me any indicator of where I am. It just sort of floats around there. And yeah, you can get a decent idea. It's not too bad. But yeah, if you've actually got the ability to use this, then you are good to go. You can use an Nembrini tuner and you get a nice display there. You can see where you need to be. And there you go. You can make sure you're in tune, that the rest of your bandmates are happy, and that you're not annoying your friends with perfect pitch. Although it's actually kind of fun to annoy your friends with perfect pitch sometimes. Not really. Oh, look, what have I done? There we go. We're back. So Nembrini tuner works well. I'll be using it now because it's just easier. I'll just stick it on my guitar tracks as an AUV3, and then I just don't have to worry. I don't have to think. I'm all about not thinking. I'm all about not thinking at all. There you go. E first octave. There you go. Cool. Let's see if we've got any other questions before we jump into the last section. And if there's anyone I haven't said good day to. Hello, Aloha Island Boy. Thank you for dropping by. Appreciate you. Play 46 and 2. I can't even remember the bass line for that one. 46 and 2 is just a memory. Is that the song? The Tool song? Okay, hang on. Yeah. I'm going to, because I can remember. If I can remember that riff. Is that one? Yeah, I'm not a very good bass player. It's a shame that I haven't all just gone. That's all you can play of that. Otherwise, the copyright claim would land on my account like that. There's probably already an email in there going, "Did you just play the first 7 notes of Higher Ground riff?" Stevie Wonder wants his check. That's the way we roll. All right. Well, that was weird. Do we have one more thing? One more time. Yes, so that's right. That's what we're going to do. We're already almost at overtime, but we're going to play around. Now, this is going to be super duper experimental, folks. So I just clipped. Sorry, this is going to be super duper experimental, folks. So please bear with me on this one. But what we're going to try and do is let's take a GarageBand iOS project, export it into BandLab, and play around with it. Because why not? So this is my GarageBand track here. Now, I've got a whole bunch of basses here. We need to choose which one we're going to export with. I think we'll go with the original one, which was this one here. Let's play this little track that we put together. I think think that'll be cool. So we've soloed these tracks. We won't worry about the rest of it. We're going to exit out of here. And what we'll do is we've got this track. It's called Bass. We're going to export this. We're going to tap and hold, and we're going to share it. We're going to share it as a song file, an uncompressed WAV file, and hit share. So this is going to export. I'm going to hit the open in button. And what I like to do when I'm sending my songs out is send them over to an app called Audio Share. Now, if you haven't got Audio Share, I think you should. It's about $5 or $8, depending where you are in the world, and it is the best way to manage your songs, the best way to manage your audio tracks. So here's what I'm going to do. We can throw it. Whoop, didn't want to email it to someone. Come on, man. What are you doing? Why are you emailing that to someone? In fact, for this one, in case you don't have Audio Share, let's just save to files. So I'm going to hit save to files here. We'll just dump it in my downloads folder so we know where it is. iCloud Drive, downloads, and hit save. Boom. And we'll replace it. Because I may or may not have done this, a quick test of this beforehand, just to make sure it did actually work. Right, now what we want to do is come out of here and go over to BandLab. So I'll just close off everything here so that we can start from scratch. And we're going to go in here to the BandLab app. So we're going to tap on BandLab and open this one up. Now, BandLab is a free music creation platform. It is a way to collaborate with other artists. It's a way to record your own music. It's available on Mac, PC, iOS, Android, everywhere. And this is my first time using the iOS version here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this plus button down the bottom here. This is our create something button, and I'm going to import a track. So let's click or tap on this import track button. You can import from your music or your photo library, I guess, if you've already got stuff. That's interesting. Maybe you can import a video file. That'd be cool. We'll experiment with that later. But we'll go to more for now, and we're going to go into our down. In fact, we can just go from the recent here, because there it is. We've just exported it. We can tap on that one, and it should import and throw this on our track. There it is. Should we hit the play button and see what happens? Well, that sounded amazing, didn't it? What a success. Now, here's what I found in my testing is that it does some strange things in here, and there's a few things we need to do to get this fixed up before we do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this settings button here in the bottom left, and I'm going to make sure that there was something here that I was playing with before that made this actually work. Is it there's a this button here. So you can see that that's giving me like a feedback there when that one there is on. So that is first problem number one. The other thing I'm going to do, and I showed this previously, is I'm going to unplug and replug my audio interface, which in this case is also going to do the same for my screen because it's all plugged in through an HDMI and USB adapter. So we'll give that an unplug and a replug to come back in, because iOS's audio is pretty darn dodgy. And sometimes when you're switching between apps, it gives you that crackly horribleness going on there. So we don't want that. Let's see. I'm going to turn the volume down in case it crackles again. Let's see what we got here now. Not bad. So that's pretty good. It's working. Now, there's a bit of lag and delay there, as you can probably hear, between when I'm playing and when I'm doing that. That's more likely to be my setup here than it is anything else. Now, let's see if we can actually match this up, because one thing you'll notice is the tempo is wrong there. So we need this to be 110, which is the tempo of our track. So if we adjust this to 110, does it immediately come back here and fix this up? There's our problem. It's too smart. It's too smart for itself. It has, but it's changed that. So when I'm importing this, I think it's just more around the fact that we'll exit this and we'll discard it, that it's going to be better for us to actually set up a new project rather than start a project by importing a track, because we need to get the track settings right first. So let's try that instead. So we're going to make music, we're going to go voice and audio. So now it's brought us in here to a fresh track ready to record. But instead of recording, let's see if we can actually add our own track here. So we'll just X out of that track. We'll hit the plus button here. But actually, before we do that, we'll go to settings. This time we'll drop the tempo to 110. And we'll come back over to here, and this time we'll add in our track, knowing that if we come in here and we import our track, more, and bass, that it should throw it in here. And now this time it should hopefully line up with our track here. Let's take a look. You know what I've done? I've put on the I've put on this. I've put on my cycle recording. So that's a tip there. Don't do that. So now So it is working. That latency, though, is a problem here. And again, I'm needing to play around with this when I'm not actually here live, because I think my audio setup, because this is going out of my iPad into my Steinberg interface, out of my Steinberg interface into my Zoom Live Track mixer, and then out of that mixer and into StreamYard, and then out of StreamYard and into YouTube. So it's going through about 5 stages here. So I do need to play around with that. But on the surface, this looks kind of cool. And of course, you don't just have to do it with things like that. You could do it with entire songs. So before we finish up, let's come back out here into GarageBand and let's grab an entire song. Let's grab my song Toxic Ego, shall we? So here is that track, Toxic Ego, here in GarageBand. Let's see if that audio is still working. It sounds like this. Yeah, there it is. So let's just say that I didn't want this lead vocal in here. I just wanted to export this with the instrumental track. Let's just try this. So we'll come out here. We will export by sharing it. We'll share it as a WAV file, uncompressed. Hit the button. Oh, test flight needs me to do things. We will open in, and we'll export that song just to bring in a whole fresh song here, because this is where this is going to be cool. I think that if you're collaborating with another artist, you can throw your song up onto BandLab. They can then record their vocals over the top, or their bass line, or their drums, or their whatever, and it all just sits on that one platform. So it gives you the opportunity to collaborate in an easy way across platform with multiple users. At least that's what I thought we could do. Hello to DeFingers, by the way. Thanks for dropping on by. That is our friend Marcus Manderson, aka DeFingers. Go and check him out. He makes some very cool sounds over on his channel. Do that. I'm a sucker for tambourine. I like tambourine, and I also question existence. Yes, I'm a sucker for a good quality tambo. All right, we'll just wait for this to export, and then we're going to check it out. I should have checked what the BPM of this is so we could try that out. I don't know everyone, but I know a lot of folk. I know all the cool people. So there you go. So if I know you, then you're cool. No, I do. I know a lot of people in the recording, especially in the mobile recording game. It is it's a close knit group. Most of us know each other, and most of us like each other. Ooh, wouldn't you like to know who didn't? It's a very short list. You don't have to worry about it. All right, so we've saved that in there. Let's jump over to BandLab, and actually, no, before we do that, we keep going to the wrong spot. GarageBand. Let's go into this track, and I'll just double check what the BPM is. I think it's like 128 or something crazy. 111. What a stupid tempo. 111. All right, so we'll go to BandLab. We'll just delete out this track. Tap it. Oh, doesn't have great mouse support. Okay, that's something else to know. Delete it. So that's causing me a few issues there, the mouse support. So if we go to the track here, and this time we'll go 110 BPM, go back to here, and let's bring in a new track. We'll go voice and audio. Nope, that's not what we wanted. We wanted to import a track, didn't we? Track, import track, and more, and this one here, Toxic Ego. Boom. Let's see how this goes with an entire song here in BandLab mobile. Okay, there it goes. We'll zoom out. Okay, seems to have done it. Let's play this. Let's cross our fingers and our toes and see what this sounds like when we give it a play, shall we? Drum roll. So yeah, there's that lead in that I've built into GarageBand, and then the drive me so crazy, and I just know how to quit. Yeah, so let's put that in there. We can then come in here and delete out these other tracks if I knew how to do that here in the mobile app. I will be learning. I have to watch some tutorials. Did you know that people that make tutorials have to watch tutorials to learn how to do tutorials? Yeah, we do. So I need to learn how to delete entire tracks there. But that's pretty cool, because what I could do now is actually save this out. In fact, we'll show you how we can do this. We'll save this out here. What has it saved it as? It didn't give me an opportunity to name it. Okay, let's go to My Projects. There you go, untitled project, blah, 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 blah. So we could come in here, we could name this, we could invite collaborators to it, we can get other people to start contributing. So if I wanted to do a challenge here, I could just create something and then put it here on BandLab, and people can come in and everyone has access to it, to use it, to sample it, to do whatever they want with it. Could be a bit of fun. So yeah, that's another way to use BandLab and GarageBand together, and we will be checking that out in desktop as well. So I'll be doing some videos in the future. We've got a video coming out next week, in fact, in about 3 days' time. We've got the next version of my BandLab video where I'm showing how to record vocals and guitar and bass. So if you've been wanting to learn how to incorporate your real instruments with your virtual instruments in BandLab, you can check that one out as well. Let's check in with Rock and Ronnie Ward, because don't forget that Ron Ward is live on the show. Yep, there he is. He is rocking and he is live. Let's do a live look-in with Ron Ward. We like to do this at the end of the show. So let's see what Rock and Ronnie Ward's up to over there. I'll just mute his audio and we'll see. Let's see. There he is. Oh, looks like he's just kicking off the show, so it could be perfect timing for us to end the show here. Because yeah, there he goes. Colin Stanton's over there playing some tracks, having some fun, doing some cool things. So if you don't want the party to end, and if you want to keep rocking on, what I recommend you do is jump over. If you have never checked out Ron Ward before, go and check him out right now. I've thrown the link right here in the chat if you're here live. Otherwise, just search Ron Ward, Ron Ready, because it's his Ron Ready show that he's happening now, and tell him Pete sent you. It's always fun when we all jump over there and jump in on Ron's show. So go and check out Rock and Ronnie Ward. Thank you all for being here today. This has been a interesting and a very fun show. We've covered a lot of ground in a short period of time, and hopefully you've either learnt something, had a bit of a chuckle, had a bit of fun here with the community, and it's giving you some reason to go and explore GarageBand in more detail. So until next time, this has been Pete Johns, Vocal 4 Studio Live today, and I'll see ya around the channel. Let's jump over and say good day to Ron. Let's go, GarageBand Weekly.
GarageBand Weekly, GarageBand Weekly, GarageBand Weekly.
Bye, everybody.